You know, the first thing I really wanted to ask you is, how do you appreciate this three-day rally of the INC? Anong dating po sa inyo?
Medyo unusual kasi na 3 days, no? The normal, remember, no January of 2025, they had a one-day rally. But it was in all over the country. But this time, they're bringing everyone. I hear from Southern Tagalog, pati may mga darating pa daw from Southern Tagalog and Central Luzon, no, to beef up the numbers, and they're being asked to stay for 3 days, no. Kung minsan magtataka ka bakit 3 days, di ba? Meron bang agenda na ipe-pressure somebody to do something, no, like to resign or whatever. But I don't think based on their statements na ganon. Pagkakaalam ko rin, sinolo nila ito November 16, 17, 18 instead of joining the November 30. One, because talagang ganun sila, solo-solo, no? Pangalawa, they didn't want to muddle the message. Because, do you remember nung, when was that? The other rally, September 21, merong Marcos resign, may Duterte resign, may kung ano-anong messages na iba-iba kasing grupo, no? Masyadong heterogeneous yung grupo, no? So ngayon, they wanted
transparency.
Stick to the message, which is transparency, accountability, and justice.
Yeah, because it's very clear. Walang Marcos resign.
Wala silang gano'n.
None of that sort.
Yeah.
Ang talagang focus nila is really about transparency. But when you said it's unusual because it's 3 days, why is it 3 days?
I really don't know. I'm not a member
What are you?
of the Iglesia.
Yes, but what are you thinking, and what is your appreciation? Bakit 3 araw?
Para siguro show of strength, no? Na show that their membership can follow the orders or the directives from the management, no? From the punong pangkalahatang tagapamahala, no?
That they're
really,
that solid.
That they're that solid.
And
yeah.
even if they say 3 days, they will muster
they
the
will.
number
They will.
for 3 whole
Alam
days.
ko may mga parating pa bukas, may mga, yun ang balita ko from my friends in the Iglesia camp.
Yeah. And we were mentioning kanina, Sir Lito, no? Parang lahat naman talaga is kailangan managot, grabe na yung korupsyon. It's really transparency. What should government do? What should government still do? Saan ho ba nagkukulang? Kulang ho ba sa transparency? Kailangan ho ba magpasa ng batas yung that the Senate President is had filed actually para to give more teeth to the ICI? Kailangan ba maging i-broadcast na, i-live stream na po itong ICI? What else should government do?
Alam mo, Pinky, hindi ako naniniwala. At palagay ko, marami rin namang hindi naniniwala na kailangan pa ng presidente na mag-form ng ICI. Or for that matter, kasi you're the commander-in-chief. You're in control. Kung kailangan mo intelligence gathering, you have the ISAP, you have the entire gabot of NBI, police, lahat yan, no? Kung talaga gusto mag-imbestiga, pwede ka naman mag-imbestiga. Kung if it's for the purpose of making sure that the evidence that is gathered is foolproof so that it will stand in court, well, what is there the DOJ and the Ombudsman and all of that for, no? So parang ang nangyari, the way I look at it, at ang suspecha ng iba, optics lang ito, no? And the way kasi the investigations have been happening, parang hanggang sa ilang tao lang, no? And I guess also, segueing to Saldico, he felt, no, or he believed na hanggang sa kanya lang
aabot.
Ilalaglag na siya, no? And so I guess that's the motivation for spilling the beans, whether it is the truth or only his truth, no?
Or half-truth.
Or half-truth, yeah.
Do you think somebody's behind him coming out?
Let's go back. In December of last year, there was a big brouhaha about the insertions in the budget, no? Even the president's sister, Amy Marcos, did a privileged speech to denounce the results of the BICAM and the GAA as presented to the president, no? Pagkatapos, January, if I'm not mistaken, pinapag-resign si Saldico, no? Well, of course, they said he's
He
going
resigned
for
for medical
medical reasons.
reasons.
But
Yeah.
alam mo, lahat naman medical reasons, pati si Bonoan, yung asawa naman ng medical. It always happens that way, no? That's always the playbook. So I think at that point in time, matalino naman siguro si Saldico, started gathering the evidence just in case. Kung sakasakaling may mangyari at siyang, kung let's be honest about it, hindi naman siya least guilty. No? I don't think, even if he's now saying that he didn't receive anything, he didn't pocket anything, mukhang wala rin naman maniniwala noon. No? But the point is, he probably made sure na protektado siya. And so he gathered his
Resibo.
paper trail, his resibo and all. No? But then he felt, no, given the drift of the investigations, given, for instance, the latest was Yusek Roberto Bernardo, na ang inimplicate puro senador, except Saldico and I think yung si Mitch Kahayon, na talaga namang matagal na inimplicate ni Diskaya, no? Then he probably must have felt, ito na, ilalaglag na ako. I will be the fall guy. So ngayon, I start bringing out my truth.
Are you talking about the testimony of Yusek Bernardo during the last hearing?
The last hearing,
itong Friday
yeah.
na to. So you think that they all of a sudden came up with that video? Kasi Friday po din niya nilabas yung
pwedeng
video.
prepared na yan just in case. No?
Okay.
Kung basta, you're just waiting for the right time.
Time to,
no? Oo.
naka-embargo, kumbaga.
You remember kay Chavit Singson, he was already making noises all over. I warned President Estrada as early as July. Ronnie Zamora, or ES Ronnie Zamora also did, but he didn't think it was going to happen. Tapos nangyari yung parang may ambush sa kanya dun sa Western Police District premises, malapit doon, no, sa may United Nations. No? I was with President Estrada that evening because of the Municipal Mayors League, or the Mayors League of the Philippines. No? And all the mayors of Ilocos Sur were also there. Probably when Chavit felt na his life was threatened or was in danger, then he started talking, di ba?
There was someone I spoke to actually, and kind of compared, in a way, Zaldico to a Chavit Part 2, Chavit 2.0. Do you think it's the same?
In terms of, look at it from Saldi's point of view, it probably is like that, from his point of view. But whether he's, like Chavit, he's going to cause the downfall of the president, that's another case, no?
Let's talk about his testimony, his video, the 3-part series. The last one, I don't know if there's a fourth one, I'm not sure, but the third part, the part 3, talked about 56 billion pesos supposed to be na tinanggap daw ng Pangulo. Babalik din po tayo, Sir Lito, doon sa bakit pa pinaimbestigahan ito ng Pangulo? Bakit pa niya sinabing mahiya naman kayo? Bakit siya magdadagdag ng 100 billion pesos through, sabi nga ni Sec Dave, no, a while ago, through SecMina, when you can, that is the President's budget, it is the NEP, pwede nang nilagay po sa NEP yon, bakit pa kailangan ilagay sa BICAM? At yung huli po, why veto? 198, I think 196 billion pesos. How do you, I guess my question is, which do you think has more credibility? What Zaldico said, or let's just say what Secretary Dave Gomez said?
Well, I can't without I mean, in the absence of proof, no, I can't really judge, no. But let's go back to the first point, the third point raised by us. Not only Secretary Gomez, but everybody else among the cabinet of the president, no, that kung magpapasok ka, bakit hindi pa sa NEP yung 100 billion na yon? The reason is obvious for people who understand budgeting. Pag pinasok mo sa NEP, kukwestiyonin pa yan sa Congress. Hindi naman hawak mo lahat ng congressmen. O siguro, hawak nila buong congressmen. Pero yung mga senador, hindi naman nila hawak lahat. So, maaaring mabusisi. It's one possibility. So, ipasok mo na lang sa BICAM. Now, remember, the BICAM has always been secretive. No? Now they're saying it's going to be open to the public. But before, it was never open. It was never transparent.
Not to the media. Picture taking lang, tapos closed door
na. No? But yung kasing sa BICAM, no, pwede rin na since election year in 2025, midterms, may nagsabi kay Presidente, no, following Saldi's story, maaring may nagsabi kay Presidente, kailangan natin ng pondo para siguraduhin nating manalo yung alyansa candidates. No? Whether that was si Speaker Romualdez or somebody else or whoever are his political advisors. So noon yung pwedeng yun na nag-impel for the President to tell Secretary Mina Pangandaman, no, and the others, no, na singit pa kayo na 100. If I follow the logic of...
Let's follow
ano,
that logic because we need to go on a break. Just a quick one. If we were to follow that logic, why did the President veto 190 plus billion?
I don't think it was 194.
It was, I think.
Nilagay sa FLR.
For later release.
Oo, pero remember, tinanggalan ng budget ang foreign assisted projects, which is a big anomaly. 2 years yan na walang gutom yung foreign assisted projects, and these are the big ticket items. You never sacrifice this to satiate the political demands of di ba? Of congressmen or whoever.
Okay, so chine-check po namin kanina ni Sir Lito yung finito ng Pangulo. Yeah, it's really 194 billion. Tapos yung 26 billion actually
sa flood control.
Is actually flood control. The balance of 168.24 billion unprogrammed allocations. So the President signed the budget in
December 30.
It appears December 30.
Yeah, because that's the last day of the year.
Yun na yun kasi mag-aano na.
Otherwise maglalapse.
Right. So that's to follow that line of
But precisely, Saldi should explain all of this. Because being chairman of appropriations, or maybe Chis Escudero.
Yeah.
Kasi, it is alleged that siya naman at saka si Saldi ang nag-usap at hindi naman si Senator Grace Poe. I mean, former Senator Grace Poe, no? So,
there was actually that I had an interview with the Senate President Tito Sotto. So sabi niya, in the end, there were only really 2 meetings. One last meeting with the BICAM, and it was the former Congressman Zaldico and the former Senate President Chis Escudero. Nagkaroon daw yun. Kasi tinatanong ko, nasa na yung iba that can speak? Senator Grace Poe, and even the minority leader can also speak on behalf, and even Congresswoman Stella Kimbo, hindi ba? But according
vice lang siya.
Vice
lang siya. So it's really Zaldi. Now, I guess it's because Senator Grace Poe, who was Finance Committee Chairman only for a few months, no? Hindi naman financial expert yan. And,
and napunta ho siya doon because I recall Senator Angara, tama ho ba, was the Finance Committee Chairman,
before.
Moved to...
And he didn't vote for... he remained with Zubiri and didn't vote for Escudero. Kaya tapos later naging DepEd.
What are your thoughts on some sectors saying that wala naman saysay itong testimony ni Zaldico until and unless he does it under oath or patotohanan po niya?
Well, I would presume meron pa siyang ilalabas. For instance, out of the country then or missing in action wherever they may be in this planet, yung Paul Estrada at saka yung, what's his name? Tiksay, whatever his first name is. Mark Tiksay yata.
Mark and Paul, oo.
Yung Mark and Paul na yun, no? Tao niya yun eh. What if they corroborate Orly Gotesa's testimony? Ang problema kasi is, suddenly, instead of government controlling the narrative is controlled now by Saldico. No? Parang yung kay Chavit noon. Kung ano sabihin niya, ganon. And nanganganak yan. In fact, I was listening to the statement of, I was reading the statement of the CBCP, no? Challenging Saldico to come home, file his charges here, come up with his charges here in the Philippines and all that, no? Well, why don't they guarantee his safety? Because definitely, even if any of us was Saldico, we would not trust government at this point in time. But, remember June Losada? Sinundo sa airport ng mga madre at inilagay sa kumbento or wherever, no? Ganun siya. Let the CBCP...
Para mapanatag yung loob
para
niya.
mapanatag yung loob niya na, protektado yung buhay niya, no? I mean, that is one option, no?
But why did you say that the narrative is controlled by Zaldico?
Because every time, first you will notice, parang he stole the thunder from the Blue Ribbon, the renewed Blue Ribbon Committee, because that's the return of Senator Ping Lacson, no? He stole the narrative from there because naglabas siya nung kanyang statement, and then followed the day after by the pictures of the maleta, no? These visuals are very important. In the time of ERAP, nung lumabas yung mga mansion sa Wakwak, mansion sa Boracay mansion and all.
Sa New Manila.
Yeah, I talked to ES Ronnie Zamora, and I said, tapos na tayo. Pag nakikita ng tao yan, kako, because I remember nung nilalabanan namin nila Doy Laurel, si Marcos, pinadala namin si Orly Mercado sa US, pinakuna namin yung Long Beach Mansion, yung Trump Towers, etc., etc. Those things matter, visuals. Ngayon, ang visual, hindi ganun eh. Ang visuals, yung napakaraming pera, nakalatag na ganun, beyond the comprehension of even the rich, no? Na ganun karami yung pera.
But while that could be true, kasi we want to see rather than hear, hindi ba? Pero pag meron ho kayong Henry Alcantara, let's not forget them, the Bryce Hernandez of this world, who testified that si Zaldico ang nagbagsak ng pera dito. Tinanong ba isa sa kanila, I'm not sure if the right words were matino ka ba kausap or something to that effect, na dinala yung pera dito dun sa dalawang tao na si Paul at si Mark sa isang gas station. Tapos kahit si Sergeant Gutesa dinala sa bahay sa Valle Verde at dinala sa bahay sa BGC, tapos dinala supposed to be
Forbes.
also sa Forbes, sa bahay naman ni Congressman, dating Speaker Martin Romualdez. Yung narrative ho ba talaga ay hawak ni Zaldico?
Well, siya yung
siya lang yung bago?
He's on the offensive, no? And the way I look at it, I mean, I wouldn't have come up with, I won't dignify.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Should the president respond to that?
If I were,
if you were his political advisor,
I would say, yan si Zaldico, nagsisinungaling lang yan. Bakit? Kasi gusto niyang mag-asylum kung saan man siya naroon. Pag sinabi niyang under threat ang buhay niya, baka sakaling bigyan siya ng asylum kung saan man bansa sa Pilipinas. Anywhere in the world. Especially in Europe. No? Then, let him, no? Kasi nagtatago nga yung tao, di ba? Rather than, just parang poo-pooing the incident and all that, no? And just denying, flat denials, no? Kasi hindi mo alam kung meron pang hawak eh. Di ba? Mabuti kung alam mong hanggang doon na lang. Nakita mo, nanganganak, no? We don't know what part 4 might be, part 5, part 6. We never can tell.
True. We don't know if there's going to be a 4, 5, 6. However, when I look at 1, 2, and 3, but please correct me if I'm wrong, the only difference was that, was it in the first or the second, he said 100 billion, to which 25% yung sa Pangulo. Tapos, today, he talked about 56 billion pesos supposed to be na kinuha.
Total na siguro yan for 2 years or whatever,
maybe.
no? But
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the details of that. Nakita ko lang yung total na sinabi niya.
So you're saying that if you were to advise the president, you wouldn't.
I'd turn the tables on the guy and say gusto lang niya magpa-asylum sa kung saan man siya nandoon. No. Hindi pwede yung hindi pwede yung parang you're hiding. That's of course. I'm not an expert.
Ano ba yung gusto ng Pilipino? Hindi ba? Gusto ba ng Pilipino na sumasagot ka o
Gusto ng
hindi mo
Pilipino
o
sumasagot
pinapabayaan
ka.
mo lang talaga to?
Like yung mahiya naman kayo, no? Why that, no? Because a week or so before the SONA, nagkabaha sa Metro Manila, Bulacan, and other places na may mga namatay. At saka nakita natin graphically yung mga kotse lumulutang, di ba? Diyan sa may ABS-CBN dati, di ba?
Yeah.
So galit ang tao. Remember, 1 year ago, what did the President say in his SONA? He took pride in 5,500
Projects.
So, kung ikaw yung gumagawa nung naghahabol ka for the SONA, sabihin mo, kailangan sagutin natin yan kasi may 5,500 tayong pinagmamalaki last year, no? So, yun yung, sige, baliktarin natin yung gawin natin ito. Dramatic. But ang problema nga, as JPE always said, and Katrina Enrile was saying that, I watched her the other night, always make sure you know the end game. Mukhang eto, you open the Pandora's box, you mahiya naman kayo, pero walang end game na planado from the very beginning.
I think that's also what Attorney Edwin Lacerda was saying.
Yeah.
It appears, I think when we were speaking a while ago, that parang hindi alam, I think that's what he was saying, the President really didn't know where this was
Going to lead to.
Yeah, saan to mapupunta. Just as a last question, do you think talks of destabilization, are they serious?
You never can tell, no? These things, it's like parang a prairie fire, no? If you a match stick could make it big, no? If I remember a Spanish song, no? La nave del olvido. It says espera un poco mas poquito mas, no? Parang abangan ang susunod na kabanata kung Tagalog, no? It's still a telenovela that still has a life to go.
Political strategist Lito Banaya, sir, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you, Pinky.
Thank you.